Okay, in this section, we're going to talk a little bit about the early sociologists. And this is really important because sociological thought, even till today, is based on these early sociological thinkers. Um, Even though, it might necessarily be, at first glance, a logical way of doing things, they were developing their thoughts and their concepts in a time when um, those great changes going on in the world was not a stable place. The times of the Industrial Revolution, the times of the in the 18th and 19th centuries, but nonetheless, they're still extremely important. And the father of sociology, a fellow named Auguste Comte, uh, he was he gave the name sociology to the subject, and he was also known as the father of positivism. Um, and positivism doesn't mean that everything is positive. It means in existence and positively there. It's not negated. It's something which is there. So he said the idea was that people should be studying stuff which is in existence, not something which is metaphysical. And that's really what's important by him. In other words, he wanted to say that the study of society could be done in a scientific manner. And this was not unusual, as we said before, that we're talking about something which was based on the philosophy of rationalism, that things exist because that knowledge is there because we can think about it, and it's not some metaphysical or completely mystical type of things. That was no place in scientific thought of those years, and we see that across the board. And why I say that was not necessarily logical to think of it, because today we don't necessarily, in science itself, even in physics, we don't necessarily think in those ways. However, we're talking about Comte lived from 1798 to 1857, so we're talking about the first half of the 19th century. And he gave the name of sociology in 1839. Now, he said that we have three stages, which the society, he called this the law of three stages, which societies develop according to three stages. The first one, which is the theocratic or the phantasmagoric, or the type which is the mystical, metaphysical, the mystical but not the metaphysical. Then the metaphysical, which is a little bit more down to earth, but it is the meta meaning above the general rules of. And then the positive, which is the actual study of what really happens in this real world, whatever that means. And he said that sociology has to be in that third area of scientific endeavor, the third area where one would actually look at things that are measurable, empirical, and able to be discussed and observed, discussed on a level of and brought into the realm of scientific observation. And society can be observed and measured according to those types of things, and that's what he really what was striving for in this idea. And in the idea of sociology, that he wanted sociology to be something which could be something which is measurable and discussed in terms of empirical facts. The trends of society, the opinions of society, the behavior as influenced by things that are measurable in society. So, in other words, the sociology then have to study things which human beings in some way or another have created, an idea, an invention, or a way of behaving, which affects the creations that we have in society. He said that as sociologists we should be looking only at such things as statistics, social statistics, or social dynamics, things that change over the time, forces that cause things to change, like a lack of money or too much money, or for instance, how's the effect of in today's world. We have a problem that the Chinese government, for instance, decided that they can only have 2 children in order to stop the population from growing, which is another factor which we can talk about some other time. But they needed to have to stop the population in China from growing. So the government imposed an idea that should only be 2 children. But there's a social factor that they did not take into account, was that people prefer to have boys in China. It was much more important than girls. So what people would do in order to make sure they have boys, they would kill off infant children. Infant girls. So now you have a different factor, social factor, which is affecting, because there's the percentage of boys to girls was much greater boys than there were girls. So what's going to happen when the boys want to get married? Well, there's going to be a problem. So there's some factors which will affect things in Southeast Asia. What does it affect? Well, girls are kidnapped and sold in China as wives. So there are measurable effects on things that happen in society. These are the things which Auguste Comte was saying we should be looking at, and the forces that cause society to change. Now, that's going to obviously make a big change in society. If you have 20% of the Chinese families being raised by Cambodian women or something like that, wherever they come from, I don't remember. And so these are the things that Comte would wanted sociology to look at. And here's the 3 things. Remember, the 3 stages: the theocratic, the metaphysical, and the positive.